Hey, I hope you're doing well today. And today we have the Avengers workflow. So we're going to be doing everything that we can possibly do with an n8n just within a few workflows. So let's get into it. See right over here, I do have a features list as well. And this actually has to be updated because I've actually added more in here as well. So we can see we have Captain America here. He's acting as the router agent. We have Tony Stark or Iron Man, which is acting as the finances agent, and this is kind of, for your bills, your expenses, your invoices. We've got Nick Fury, so he's actually handling pretty much the NCP servers and all the other workflows. So what he's doing is actually routing it, kind of directing all the other agents in the workflows. We then have Doctor Strange over here, who is handling all of the automation workflows. Okay, so we have here like things for YouTube, we've got things for trends, we've got searching for business data, scraping leads, everything. I mean, there's just so many things here, I can't even list them all out. We have Vision over here, who's just going to be acting as our email agent. Okay, so we're going to get those emails in, we're going to put our labels on them, also create drafts, and then send us, feedback that that draft has been made. And then we also have Hulk, who is dealing with our MCP, and he's going to be dealing with everything within this workflow right here as well. Let's just say for the time being, let's get our YouTube data. All right, something simple. This is just a good way just to track, how your social media accounts are doing. But the first thing I want to show you right here is that we're getting responses back as this actual flow and this automation is progressing, okay? So we can see here, Captain America is right here, has routed the query. Okay, it's then gone over to Nick Fury over here, as we can see by the green line, and then Nick's actually executed another workflow, as we can see right here, which is then gone to Doctor Strange, and then Doctor Strange has executed the YouTube flow, and then obviously given us the data back, as we see right there. All right, let's give Tony Stark a little test as well. So he's going to be dealing with our bills, our receipts, invoices, all that kind of stuff. So we'll test the workflow. Now, obviously, you don't have to press test workflow every time once you're using this. You would just press activate over here, but this is just so we can see everything all in motion, okay? So I'm going to open up Telegram again. I'm just going to paste this in, create a bill for $500 for Facebook ads, press enter, send that off. Now we'll see it being routed here by Captain America. It's coming down over here, straight over to Tony Stark. He's now dealing with the bill. Okay, then we should get a response back. So we see the responses and all the feedback as well, that Captain America is sending the orders, routed to Tony Stark, and then boom, your bill for $500 to Facebook ads has been created for today's date. So if we jump over to our Google Sheets right now, and there we go as well, okay? And I just realized we have to change our currency right here as well. So I'm just gonna come over to format, number, US dollar, and there we go. Okay, so we're in the US dollars now as well. And now let's give our MCP a little test as well. So we do have some basic nodes in here, getting the weather, Wikipedia, we actually have Spotify, we've got Reddit, Hacker News, Calculator. These are small little nodes, but actually are quite powerful. Hacker News is not something to be ignored. Reddit is fantastic. We have searched the web obviously as well. Wikipedia, weather, very, very useful as well. It's like, why not add them in, right? And then we just have our simple things over here as well. So this is all within the Google ecosystem. We have our calendars, we've got our emails over here as well, and we also have our tasks, okay? But don't forget, back in the other workflow over here, we also have Vision, who's running on a Gmail trigger. Every hour, it's going to fetch those emails, route them, put labels on them, and then if it's urgent, if it's determined as something that's very, very urgent, it's then going to be creating an email draft, which we can see right here, and then informing me as well in Telegram so I can, go in and check that draft just to make sure everything's all good before I would send it off to that client or whoever that it may be. I'm going to test this workflow. I'm going to pop open with Telegram, and I'm just going to say, get me the weather for Cairns, Australia, okay? Because, that's pretty much my city. So routed to Nick Fury, he's then getting the weather for me via the MCP, which is handled by Hulk, okay? And there we go, okay? So we have the weather in Cairns, Australia, broken clouds, yada, 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 okay? So it's all working very, very nice and smoothly as well. Let's go through how I've made all this and go through step by step kind of how it all works, okay? So number one, we start off over here with a Telegram trigger, okay? So this is actually running on the star. The star means that everything that comes in, voices, imagery, obviously text as well, is all going to be picked up. Okay. Now, after this, what you really want to be doing, and I don't see it enough in people's workflows, is setting security for the workflow. Don't forget, when you put this trigger on and you have, you activate this, if anyone has access to your bot, meaning this bot right here, okay, anyone can actually message that bot and access your workflow and access, your emails and everything. I don't think you really want that, right? So you want to add some security. This is what this if node is doing right here. So essentially, if we come over here and we have the chat ID, or the message ID, sorry, okay, which we can see is this number right here. Now, if it is equal to this number, which is obviously me, okay, which is tied to my Telegram account, then it will pass through. If it's not, matching with that number, it won't pass through. It won't activate the automation. Nothing will happen, okay? Because don't forget, anyone can find your bot and message it, okay? So just be very careful about that. And then we have the type. So all this is doing is just taking all the messages, whether it be voice, whether it be a photo or whatever it may be, and I'm just setting it as a type, okay? And that way we only have one output, okay? So no matter if I'm taking it from a voice file, no matter if I'm taking it from image or from the text that we can see right here as well, it will always be type, get me the weather for Cairns, Australia. Well, it won't be that, but I mean, it'll always output as a type, okay? So that just cleans everything up and it makes it a lot easier to handle and manage. After that, I'm setting a session ID, okay? Now, because we aren't using a chat input, okay, a chat input, the normal chat trigger that, so you can chat on n8n with, we're not using that. So we're not getting a session ID at the moment, okay? Now, what this is doing, this simple little code here, is just generating a static session ID, okay? So we can see my session ID over here, and this is just staying the same because I'm setting a context window length in the memory over here of 10, okay? So the previous messages that were, that I sent and that were sent through, it's going to remember up to 10 messages. After that, this is how I'm getting that feedback along the journey, okay? So if we just open up Telegram again right here, and you'll see, Captain America is sending the orders, routed to Nick Fury. This is what's happening right there. So if I open this up, okay, I'm just setting a send message back to Telegram through the automation as well, okay? So for each and every kind of step, we're getting feedback. So I'm just setting this as a hard-coded bit of text, which is just saying, obviously, as you saw before, Captain America is sending the orders. This is my chat ID. I'm sending a message, pass mode, markdown legacy. Probably wouldn't even need that, to be honest with you, but it was just already set there. And another very important one is to append n8n attribution, and you want to switch that off. Otherwise, you're going to get that little n8n message on every single text message from Telegram. It's really annoying. So jumping back over here, now we're getting into our text classifier. So this is what that node is. Okay, so if I open this up and I go like this, this is what this right here is. Okay, so just a text classifier, but this is essentially working as a router. Okay, this is what it's doing. So if we look, and you might not be able to see what's going on here because I've got so many things, but this is what's happening. So it's determining based on my query where it should send, okay, my query. So if, for instance, it was just a normal chat, it might send it over to Nick, okay, to the Nick Fury agent over here. Now, if it was something to do with lead scraping, it's going to come over here down to lead scraping. If it's web scraping, here, article extraction, company research, business scraping. So, depending on what I'm sending it, it's then going to route it to the right location. So obviously, again, for Tony Stark right here, the same exact thing. We have one right here for invoices as well. And actually, just before we continue any more as well, this is also a very, very useful thing that you should have personally for yourself, but also for your clients. And that is offering help, okay? A lot of your automations that I've noticed, when people are posting all these things, they don't have any way to, for their client or even yourself, if you forget how to use the actual system, right? Now, adding in a little helper is very, very important. It doesn't really cost that much. Just use GPT Nano or whatever it may be, okay? It's like literal cents. It could be cents for like 100 messages, okay? It's very, very cheap. So we can see Spider-Man, he's acting as our helper agent, okay? And then outputting a message back to me based on, what my query is in terms of what I need help with. So let me just give you a little demonstration of that as well. I'm just going to test the workflow. I'm going to come over here, and if I just say help, we'll see it jumping over to Spider-Man right here in a sec. Okay, boom, Spider-Man sent me a message, and we get a little response back as well. So he's now kind of describing how to use this system. So if I said now like something like help with YouTube, just for an example, right? Like, how do I use YouTube? We're going to see it come over to Spider-Man again. Now he's actually going to give me examples of how to use it. So like, get my latest YouTube stats, or show my subscriber count on YouTube, and so on and so forth. Okay. So this is a good way just to add, for your clients, most especially your clients, a way to kind of direct them, to help them out. Otherwise, you're going to be having to go on the call, email, going back and forth, and it gets very, very tiring very, very quickly. Okay, so this is a good way to keep everything in check as well. All right, so we can see over here, I also have Telegram voice, okay, and also have chat. So we have both going on right here. So we can send queries not only, via text, but also via voice. So this is great because if we're on the move and we, are driving, well, not that I recommend picking up your phone and playing with it, as you're driving, but just for an example, we could still do all this and all the actions just via the voice as well. So this is just being transcribed by Whisper. Okay, so if you don't know Whisper, it's just basically the node from OpenAI or ChatGPT. Okay, so I'll just show you really, really quickly as well. If I just type in OpenAI, if I actually press that, we get these little options right here as well. So we do have analyze image. Okay, we have generate image, and then we have generate audio, and then transcribe a recording. And that's how we're going to, actually transcribe our voice, which is then going to convert it to text. And that text is then, can be sent to our AI agent for it to understand. After that, we're coming over here, and a very similar thing, just like before when I showed you at the beginning right over here, okay, with the set type, this is also doing a very similar thing because we're taking in the voice file, okay, and the transcription from the voice, and also my chat, and then I'm putting it through one set query right here. Because if I actually open this up, no matter if I sent a voice or I sent a chat message, like a text message, it's only going to be in the query and output as a query. Okay, so just looking right here, okay, if you can see it, I know it's a little bit funky looking because they're on the next line, but I'm using what they call the OR operator. Okay, so that's essentially just these little lines like this between each. So we can see right here, I have the Telegram trigger for the message text, okay, and then I have the JSON text as well, okay, and the JSON text is just coming from the analyze audio right here. So that's being put into one expression, okay, so no matter if it's the voice, no matter if it's a text, this will be picked up. Okay, so we don't have to put them in separate fields or anything like that. We just use the OR operator. Okay, now after that, I'm then sending a message back to me again, just more feedback. So I know what's going on with another Telegram message. So we're saying here, routed to Nick Fury, thinking. Okay, so this is important too because we might be who knows where, right? We're not looking at our n8n screen all the time and able to see where everything is going, right? Using these little feedback messages gives us a good indication that everything is being routed to where it should be routed. Everything is working as it should be working, okay? So getting that feedback, as I showed you before with these, Captain America sending the orders, routed to Nick Fury thinking and all these kind of things is a good measure as well, so we can actually see what's happening while we're not even looking at n8n, because we might be in bed, just chatting with it in bed or on the move or wherever we're going, right? This is really important as well. So after that, we're just getting that simple message. It's then coming over to Nick Fury. Okay, now I'll just open up Nick Fury here as well. And we have just a very simple prompt. Now this can be condensed down quite a bit as well. I just had to, get a few things in here, all the little parameters and everything. But we can see right here, all I've said is, you are Nick Fury, Your role is to route queries and provide responses back to the user, because that's all it's doing. Now, coming down here to our Tony Stark agent as well, we can see it. We have 2 coming in. Okay, so again, the same similar thing going on right over here. We also have it here. Why is that? Well, because we have a text coming in. Okay, so if I sent it via a chat message, or I might send an invoice or a receipt or something with a photo, right? So if I send it by a photo, it's then going to come through. It's then going to download that image from Telegram, which we can see right here. Okay, it's going to get that file. I'm changing the MIME type here because sometimes, depending on the file that you're sending, OpenAI, the actual node who's going to analyze that image, sometimes they don't like the MIME types. Okay, which is kind of like the extension. So you have like JPEG and PNG and all that crap. What I'm doing here, I'm just forcing it to be an image / JPEG. Okay, so this will always output as a JPEG every single time. Now, over here, we just have OpenAI. So just like I showed you before, all this is doing, rather than analyzing the actual sound, all this is doing is just analyzing the actual image. What's in the image, outputting that information. That's then being sent through this set query invoice here, which is exactly like I showed you before for the other one. And then that's being passed over to Tony Stark. Now for the prompt, it's very, very simple. It's just a simple little invoice agent who's handling all our Google Sheets. Okay, so you'll see here as well, I'm using Google for pretty much everything. Very, very important reason why for that as well. Number one, Google in terms of their ecosystem is massive. Okay, so we have the emails, we've got databases, we've got so many things that we can utilize with Google. Very, very important. Number two is when we compare to, say, Microsoft Outlook. Okay, Microsoft Outlook, I don't know why, but they seem to hate when we're connecting to all these other third-party integrations and tools. So a lot of the time what I've found is that it seems to get connected all nice and easily, and then after a while, they'll just block the account, and then I would have to go in, verify it again, send an SMS code, and then I can actually log in and start using my automations again. Really, really annoying. So if you want to stick to one, I would stick with Google, because we have access to pretty much everything that we would need with Google as well. Coming over here as well, for Spider-Man, it's a very simple setup. Okay, so all we're doing is we're listing out all the things that all our automations do and giving examples. Okay, so I'll just jump into the system prompt right here really, really quickly. So all I'm doing here, okay, is just describing everything that all these automations and these agents do, so that Spider-Man here can give a response back to the user, okay, in terms of how to use each and every one. Okay, so we can see right here for the MCP server tools, Reddit. Okay, just as an example prompt that you should send, we can say get top post from our technology. Okay, for a task, create a task to review Q2 budget next Monday. Simple stuff like that. And that's just helping you, the user, actually, use this whole system right here. Now, let's jump over to our second workflow, where we have Vision, we have Doctor Strange, and all these bloody automations going on here as well. So starting off with Vision, we're setting up a Gmail trigger. Okay, so this is just very, very simple. Every hour, we're scanning for emails. Oh, there's a new email come in. All right, it's going to be passed through. Once it's passed through, we're going through a router over here. So this is the same as what we had as Captain America in the previous workflow. Okay, now all this is doing is looking at the email and determining whether or not this is urgent, not urgent, or random. Okay, we're using GPT 4.1 mini for this task because it is very cheap, it is very fast, and it is actually quite smart as well. Now, once the email is determined if it's urgent, not urgent, or random, we're passing it through, one of these nodes right here. Okay, so this is all this is doing is just adding a label. So we've already set labels in our Gmail account. Okay, things like urgent, or it could be labels like client and leads or whatever like that. Okay, so set it, whatever that you want to set it as. We're clicking all this, we're opening this up, and then we're just choosing the label that we want to place for this particular email. Okay, so if this was an urgent email, it'd be labeled with urgent. It's going to then be passed over to Vision. Vision's then going to create a draft, as we can see right here, okay? Leave that draft for me in my email account, and then obviously inform me that it's created a draft. Now, you might see these two right here. It's not going anywhere. There's no draft. There's, nothing is happening. There's also no response back to Telegram. Well, that's very, very simple because it's not that important. I don't need to be notified of it, okay? I'll see it when I see it. It's not really that important. So this is where you see the when executed by another workflow. So just jumping back over here really, really quickly, all of these nodes right here, okay, are executing that other workflow, as well as this one right here, okay? So this is the same exact thing, but this is what's connected to the actual agent. So the agent is the one who's executing the other workflow, whereas this one, we're setting the rules and the steps to actually execute the other workflow, okay? So this actual node right here is executing this node right here. So the one from the agent from Nick and all those 4 or 5 other nodes are executing just this one singular node right here. Now, very important reason again, because I see that people still haven't updated their workflows yet. A lot of people that I've seen are still using several execute other workflow nodes, right? So they might have like 4 or 5 execute other workflow nodes, and then they, on top of that, they have 4 or 5 different workflows. Very, very inefficient in this day and age right now with n8n. This is how you should be doing it. In my case here, we have several automations, but they're all being executed by one, okay? So the reason why this is important, because now if you look at how many automations are going on here, okay, based on this right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This means I would actually have to create 10 more workflows, okay? Now think about that, how annoying that is to manage everything. You've got to go in, click everything, go to the next workflow. You're going to get lost, after a while, because everything is just a mess across so many workflows, and yeah, it gets frustrating really, really quickly. What this is doing though is executing any of those workflows, okay, just via this singular one right here. Now in terms of the setup, we're using the same similar thing. We have the type, okay, which is obviously set as a string. String just means it's a series of letters. So that means that the agent understands now what to send to the execute other workflow node, okay? But in terms of this one right here, I've actually put in hard-coded type, okay? Now, there's a very important reason for that. Number one, because we don't have an LLM chain or an AI agent to set this for us. We have to set it ourselves, okay? Now, the reason why I've done that is because, number one, we can save on some cost. Number two, it's a lot faster as well, and it's obviously reliable because it's always going to be business scrape, okay? It's not going to be changed to anything else. It's always going to be the one thing. There's a very important reason for that as well, because once we come over here, okay, and we actually jump over to our switch, we have to make sure that the actual text that is coming through is exactly the same every time, because we are defining all of the fields here, okay, based on what's coming through there, okay, has to equal web scraping, or it has to equal article extraction, or Instagram or TikTok, and so on and so forth, right? It must equal exactly that query, even in terms of the lowercase, uppercase, even if you had a period on the end or not, it won't pass through if it's not exact. Now, there's one thing that you'll notice here as well, and that is all of these are capitalized, okay? There's a very good reason for that as well, because sometimes your agent can actually send off the correct actual parameter, right? But it won't actually capitalize the first letter. It might leave it or forget about it, or it might add a period to the end of it. I'm just saying as an example, right? And this is what I mean about the kind of, the inconsistency that you can get when using a switch node if you rely too much on your agent, okay? So what I've done here is I've just capitalized everything. It's always just going to be capitalized. And how is that being done? Well, through JavaScript code right here. So I have custom code right here. Now, all this is doing, okay, is just taking that, taking the type, taking the type, passing it through here, okay, and then this is just capitalizing it. So if I actually test that step, We'll test that, and there we go. So we have company research here, which is coming through. Now it's output as company research, but all capitalized. So every single time, every query, I don't have to worry, is the agent written it correctly, or whatever it may be, right? It's always going to be capitalized and be perfect every single time. Now, in terms of this is just that feedback again. I'm getting that feedback received by Dr. Strange, executing, the workflow now, okay? Now, this one here as well is where I'm simplifying everything, okay? So you'll see this in a few other workflows as well, but this is where we're simplifying everything. And what's happening here is that once we open this up, once you've put in your API keys here, okay? So you put in your Firecrawl, your Taverly, your Rapid API, and your OpenAI API key as well. You just set them here, okay? And then all within this whole workflow, all the way down through every single node is already connected. You don't have to go in, connect one by one, wondering, oh, where do I put the API key and this and that. I have set everything here for you. Just as an example as well, if I was to select on this one right here, get TikTok profile, okay? If we come down over here, we can see that the X-Rapid API key has already been set. And if we jump up over here to Instagram or Taverly extract, we can see right here as well, we have the authorization bearer with the API key as well, already set. And that is being set all via the set node right here for the whole workflow, okay? So once you set your API keys here, yeah, you're gonna have to change, your username and things like that. But apart from that, you're all set, ready to go. So I've made it just that extra easier for you as well, so you get up and running a lot faster. Now we also have trends here, and I'm just going to have to actually change this name right here to get trends instead. Now this is actually really, really cool. I love this one because we're getting the daily trends for like several dozen topics, okay? And this is actually being output straight back to us, to our Telegram, so we can actually see news and trends for like the AI stuff, technology, gadgets. If you're into economy and trading and forex, cryptocurrency, all those kind of things, we're going to get all of this data right here as well. Okay, so this is all trending, updated all the time. Really, really, really useful. Okay, so in terms of how I was getting that YouTube data before, getting it back to me, all this is doing, I'm just using the n8n, simple little n8n node right here, okay? I'm putting in my channel ID. So if you don't know how to get your channel ID as well, just go to Google, search for get my channel ID, click on the link, put in your username for your YouTube account, and then it's going to output, this weird looking thing right here. Put that in here, paste it in, okay? Boom, you're good to go. You're going to get all your data, okay? Now, in terms of how I'm getting the update and then updating that data, on the fly as well, okay, every day, all I'm doing here is that I have two little Google Sheets nodes right here, okay? So number one, we're getting that data, okay? So from, let's say from the previous day or the previous execution, when I ran it, it's going to get that data, look at it, and then it's going to compare it to the new data that we're getting in through the node right here, okay? So then we can see like, oh, how many subscribers did I get today? Or how many more views did I get? And this and that. It's then going to give you the comparison just so you can understand how your progress is going as well, okay? So I'm doing this across YouTube. I'm doing this across TikTok. And I'm also doing this across Instagram as well. So these are all doing, roughly the same thing, okay? But, obviously for different social medias. Now for the search businesses here, this one is really, really cool as well. So we can get like all the local business data depending on like what niche we're going for, the location. Now I've actually just taken out all my API keys and I forgot to show you this one before. But essentially what's happening over here is that it's going to go through the automation here. Now I'll just show you as an example too. I hope I still have some here. So we have the business data. And there we go, okay? So we're going to get like, whatever niche that we choose, we can see the mobile number, the type as well. Sometimes some do have it, sometimes they don't. We have the review count here as well, the rating here, and the data and the date scraped, okay? So which day did we actually scrape all of this? Now, the reason why this is useful is because if you, obviously, you can do cold calling, cold calling businesses and things like that. Number two, though, and the reason why I added in review count and the ratings is because if you wanted to start a reputation management sort of business, this is really, really useful and really, really powerful, because essentially what you'd be doing is that you'll be going through these, okay, and you'll be looking at the ratings which are low, okay, like we can see right here, we got a 3.1, we've got a 3.1 here, Jesus Christ, this one is 2.9, and essentially what we want to do is offer our reputation management services to ensure that they don't get any more of those low star reviews. Now, obviously, they would have to do better business to actually avoid getting those reviews in the first place. But through reputation management, it's kind of like a shield to getting bad reviews. Okay, so that's why I've added this in here, because it gives you opportunities for different types of businesses, which I've personally done in the past as well, and they work very, very well. Now, coming over to company research as well, essentially what this is doing, I've just put in an example one here. So through the automation, I put in the company of which one I wanted to research, which was just Airtable. It's then outputted the address. We have the type, what kind of business it is. Then we have some more information about it. So like the core business, the financials, news about the business. So we can see here in the last 6 months, Airtable announced partnerships to enhance AI-driven automation, whatever. Okay. And then jumping over here, we obviously get the website as well and the date that we actually researched it, which was, well, yesterday for me, but yeah, it's pretty much just hit over past midnight right now. And then down here we have our LinkedIn scraper. Okay, so this is what we're doing to get all our leads for emails. Okay, so all the emails are going to be coming through here. As you can see here, I do have a lot of HTTP requests going on with some wait nodes just to avoid the rate limits. We have the code nodes here just to clean up the data as well. And then that's being output straight to our Google Sheet. So then we get, names, we get like a bit of information about them, personalized stuff as well. So we understand who they are, what they do. And then we could add them to our email campaigns and blast them with annoying emails until they buy stuff from us. So now I'm going to go through the MCP really quick as well. And you can see my MCP being handled by Hulk right here. Okay. So what's happening here is that we have all the nodes here connected to an MCP server. And the one executing this is Nick. Okay. Nick Fury, which is from our first workflow over here. This one right here. Okay. So Nick is handling all of the calls to Hulk right here. Okay, so we can see we have the calendar, events, create, delete, update. We have send emails, get emails, reply to emails. Then we also have create contacts and get contacts as well. So I've seen some people using like Airtable to place their contacts in there. Again, we're in the Google ecosystem. We don't need to do that. I mean, if you're using Google, we might as well use the Google Contacts as well. It's already made for it. It's very simple to use. It just requires logging in. And then we will have all our contacts in there straight away. So essentially, if we wanted to send an email, right? And you're like, oh, well, how's Nick going to know whose email is who? Well, that's where he can go in, get the contact based on the name. Let's say, for Ken or for Jimmy, whatever, whoever it may be. It's then going to retrieve that email, and then he's able to say, okay, now I've got that email. I can formulate that email and send it off now because now I know who to send it to. Okay. And then down here, we have more Google Sheet nodes. Okay. So you'll see that everything down here as well with the receipts, we got the tasks here, subscriptions, leads, and so on and so forth. Everything is in Google Sheets. So now you're in a singular main sheet, which you can see right here. Okay, I have the main sheet allowing you to not have to go through, several different databases, several different places. Everything is just boom, straight on the Google ecosystem. A lot easier for you as a user as well. And then over here is just all our, kind of entertainment type of nodes, right? We've got some hacker news, we've got our Reddits, search the web, Wikipedia, weather, Spotify, and, even Spotify. It's silly, right? But sometimes I'm like, what's that song from Bruno Mars and what's that song from Justin Bieber? Boom, there's your answer right there. Get all that information for you. And then it's just a simple calculator, because don't forget, sometimes LLMs, sometimes AI models can and will a lot of the time, give the wrong answer for mathematical questions. Okay, so just having that little backup as a calculator here can be useful as well. And then on the far left over here, we just have a Pinecone vector store. Okay, so this can be based on whatever the hell you put in your vector store. Okay, it might be business information, it might be personal stuff. whatever may be, we do have a vector store right over here as well to use. All right, and that's pretty much it. So obviously, yes, the templates are going to be on my school community right here as well. If you do want to pick them up, you want to pick up some more things, some other things as well. I'm going to be releasing a lot more stuff in the community. Just release some image prompts that you can see right here as well, you know, making some killer imagery with the new, well, it's not really that new, but with ChatGPT's image model. And yeah, having a lot of fun with the community as well, sharing a lot of information, sharing a lot of the latest news. And I mean, I keep everyone here really up to date with all the latest AI news because it's so easy to get left behind. So I hope to see you there, but if I don't, I'll see you in the next video anyway.